to Lachance Encounters. I'm here today with Jess Stevenson from Kinstruct Tiny Homes and Sopris Realty. I did no checking to make sure that those were how you pronounce both those words.
Well, you got it right.
Okay, good. Because they're not, I'm reading them going, those aren't in the dictionary.
Those aren't regular words.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually pronounced them the way she wanted them. But yeah, nailed it. So what I really want to talk to you about today, we'll get to your brokerage a little bit too. Jess owns and operates her own real estate brokerage, but more recently she's gotten into the tiny home business, which I have people, as these prices get higher and higher and rates stay high and the competition's so high, I have people all the time asking me about tiny homes, and you're right there where you should be. You're at the right time to be the person to capitalize on that.
Almost like I planned it.
Maybe you did. I don't know. But yeah, no, I want to know how did you plan it? Why?
Yep.
How did you come to be in that part of the industry? Mm-hmm. What drives you, and how did you start your business, and what exactly are you doing with it?
All excellent questions. So obviously I'm a broker, I have Sopris Realty, do lots of transactional real estate, mostly in the multifamily and commercial field. Over the last few years, we've been talking amongst our family for options for my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has been living with us for the last 10 years. I have 3 children. They, turns out, don't get smaller, don't take up less space. They end up getting larger and, accumulating more stuff. And
my kid actually has 2 bedrooms in my house.
Exactly. And they start to kind of like overflow into your space, and you're like, whoa, pump the brakes. So as a family, we're kind of talking about like, what the heck are our options here? Like, mom lives with us, and she doesn't drive. We need her to live with us. It just makes all the sense, especially with the inventory so low, the rate's so high. At her age, does she want a mortgage? No. It just, who's going to shovel for her? Who's going to bring groceries to her? It just made more sense to have her with us, which is why she's been with us for 10 years. And we wanted to continue that, but we're kind of bursting at the seams. So we looked into a bunch of different options. And obviously being a broker, I have the resources that we need to kind of look into things and figure stuff out. And an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, turned out to be the right option for our family. And as I dug into it, I realized a couple things pretty quickly. One, this is a pretty complicated process. And there's really no, as we're going through this, we live in New Hampshire, so we're on a septic system, a private septic system, of course. And so the first hurdle was like, what the heck do we do with that? And then it was like, do I need an architect? Do I need an engineer? There's a lot of moving parts here. Can it be detached and just sit in the back of my backyard on its own, or does it have to be attached to my house? So as we dug in and learned a little bit more, we were able to kind of navigate that process a little clumsily, but we did it because of kind of my background, and my husband's background is in site work and construction specifically. So we were able to do it, but I thought just to myself, like, wow, this is a lot for your average homeowner to have to navigate.
Right.
One time. They're only going to do it one time, right? This is a big decision for people. It's a lot of money. It's a big disruption to your life. And then you're creating this like great multi-generational home that like ideally you're going to stay in for a while, right? You're not going to build this and then move in a couple of years. Obviously, life is life, and sometimes that happens. But I wanted to kind of create a system for people where they could reach out to me and say like, we need like an all-inclusive model here. We need somebody that can come in and build this from start to finish and really capture all of those different moving parts. So I couldn't find somebody like that.
I've never been able to find anybody either.
Right.
You're literally the first.
Yes.
Here anyway.
And specific to accessory dwelling units too. And because of what we're called Kinstruct tiny homes, so Kinstruct is a made-up word, like you said, not in the dictionary. Maybe one day it will be. But we're family, right? Like our family's doing this. Our family owns it. We're building these for families. Like everything is about kin and family and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a play on Construct.
That makes sense.
Kinstruct.
I did not pick that up, but it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I landed here. And I think it was a good overlap with my real estate background and my husband's construction background. And so here we are.
Now you said complicated process. What is that process? Why is it complicated? And why is it? I say this all the time. Everything's too complicated.
Right.
I mean, I'm going through a healthcare thing right now where I've been 3 months of real estate's not completely separated from that world of complication. Yeah, so what are the specific challenges having to do with tiny homes and ADUs?
Yeah.
That people don't know about?
So the first challenge would be that it varies from town to town here in New Hampshire. So overall, in 2017, New Hampshire passed a law that says, hey, ADUs are allowed statewide. So no matter where you live in New Hampshire, if you live in a single-family home in a residential district in New Hampshire, you can build an ADU.
And I'm clipping that because so many people still don't know that.
So many people
real
don't
estate
know.
professionals.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know. We're educating people all the time, and that's great. I love doing that. But there's an asterisk, like a but, always, of course, right, when you're talking about real estate. And the asterisk is that the individual towns can dictate what that looks like. So some towns say it has to be attached. Some towns say it can be detached, like standalone from your property, but it can't be over 750 square feet. It can't be over, more than one bedroom. It has to have a garage component. It has to have a door facing a certain way. It can't have its own mailbox. Like, the rules are just so arbitrary sometimes, and you're like, why? Why is it like that? So when a homeowner runs into that many like rules and regulations, it kind of gives them pause, and they're like, maybe I don't want to do this. Maybe this isn't for me. When really they need
friction
it.
holds us up so many times.
Yes.
People do so many things that they would love to do.
Yeah.
As soon as they hit friction, they're done.
Done.
They never get there.
So the goal is to eliminate that friction, take the friction off their plate and give it to us, right? So we're coming in, we're telling you, okay, here's your property, here's what you want to do, and here's what's allowed. Now let's take that like trifecta, right? And find that nice sweet spot where everything fits together. What you need, what you want, and what's allowed.
So you mentioned detached or attached.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't come up with those words. But there's legislation happening right now to change that, right?
There sure is, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's in the Senate right now. It's Bill 577, and that is going to aim to take that local municipal control away from the towns, which is a little bit of a hot, it's political.
As you said that, I was like, that's just those terms just anger people immediately.
They do. And because local towns, especially here in New Hampshire, where it's so different,
Right.
like Manchester is not the same as some of these rural, Mont Vernon. Like, those are not the same towns.
You would think too a big city would be like difficult to deal with, but I'm actually working on a renovation in Manchester right now, and compared to what I always go through dealing with these small towns, it's a breeze.
It is a breeze.
They just have a
They're
system.
prepared for it.
Yeah,
yes.
They've been through it 100 times.
Yes.
A lot of times when you come to one of these small towns with something, it's new to them.
Or
they're also only open 4 hours a week, or
correct.
only taking calls.
They break for lunch.
1 and 3
yes.
on Thursday.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's important to note too the difference between a tiny home and an ADU. So for our purposes, what we build is on a foundation all the time. We don't build anything modular, nothing mobile, nothing on wheels, nothing prefab. We don't crane anything in. So our stuff is essentially all custom. We're a custom home builder. We just build small homes.
Yeah.
So the word tiny homes kind of has like multiple definitions, right? But for our purposes, we're talking about something that's stick built on site on a foundation. We're excavating, we're doing 4-foot frost walls. We live in New Hampshire. Our stuff is a true dwelling, and it's permitted as such. And that means two very important things. That means it's going to increase the value of your home pretty significantly, and that means it qualifies for financing.
Right, I was just going to say that everything you're saying is music to my ears as a loan officer.
Yes.
Because I just went through. I'd never known it. I had a client purchasing a mobile home, and we had to do the structural. It was an FHA loan, so we had to do the engineer's report.
Yep.
And it came back saying, "Oh, this doesn't pass because there's decks attached to it." And I didn't know that was. But
Fun fact.
But you can't have. It can't bear the weight of any additions, and they consider a deck an addition.
Sure.
So we had to have somebody come in and take the supports off of the building and build new supports to support that deck. But I didn't know it, and it's you do what you're saying about modulars and mobiles and things with wheels is there's so much nuance and issues in the financing to get through, and sounds like you've just completely eliminated.
We're very construction loan friendly.
The right way. Yeah. What I get a lot of times from clients is that a house will have an ADU, and they always say, "Can I rent it out?" And I'm not. I mean, and I'm going to preface this with neither Jess or I are attorneys. So if you have any questions before buying a property and you want to rent it out, please consult an attorney and have them review the local regulations. But what in general is the difference between an ADU and having a multifamily property? And you know, have you run into that? Have you had people, you know, be able to rent out these ADUs, or would that just be a no-go? What's your experience with that?
Our experience is that you can absolutely rent out your ADU.
Okay.
Yeah. When we're talking about short-term rentals, like stuff like Airbnb, that's where you want to talk to somebody specific to your town. Obviously, local towns here in New Hampshire, us being kind of a tourist community on the coast, up north, things like that, they have their own special regulations, so you absolutely want to check town specific for that. But in general, if you're looking to, we have families every single day say, okay, I need to build this for mom. She's 85. Like, we need a place for her to comfortably live out the rest of her days, age in place. We want to be there to help her, have her services, whatever, but she's not going to be here forever, and we're trying to future plan. And the future plan is that when mom's no longer here, this is going to be rental income for us.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely do that.
And so much better than all the money just disappearing.
Exactly. To
a
an
nursing
assisted
facility.
living.
Assisted
Yeah.
living, yeah.
Yep.
I helped a gentleman sell his house last year, and I remember sitting down and figuring out that the proceeds from his house that he'd owed for 20 years would only pay for a year of assisted living.
Wild.
And it's just so sad to see
It
that.
is.
And it's great that families can do that. I don't think I could do it with my mother. She's told me, she used the term granny pod.
Yes.
She's
Yep.
like, can you put one of those granny pods in
Yeah.
your yard? And I have 5 acres, and that's still not far enough, I don't think. Sorry, Mom. I love you, bud.
Yeah.
The 2 hours of distance we have is great.
It's great.
She's like the only one that listens to every podcast, and here I am shitting on her.
Oh, hi, Alex's mom.
Maybe she stopped. I don't know. I haven't got any comments in a bit. Maybe she's gotten bored with it. But so, where do you see the future of this going? Do you think that more and more people are going to be, one, having multi-generational living, and do you think maybe this is an option for younger people to own their first house, or where's the future of this? Because you're just starting, and I wonder where it's going.
Yeah, we're about a year in at this point, and I'm super excited about the future of this. I think with this new legislation coming through, and just obviously watching what's happening in the rest of the country with accessory dwelling units, it's such a great solution to the housing crisis. It's a partial solution. There's lots of solutions to the housing crisis, and we need all of them.
Right.
And this is a great one for families.
To me, you just go as simple as more bedrooms. We just need more places for people to lay their heads down.
Yep.
So any way you get there. You see a lot of people get upset about all the development downtown Manchester, and it's 3-bedroom for $3,600, and it's like, that does kind of suck. But that is for the people who can afford that and want it. They're moving out of maybe a more affordable unit into that unit, and it's just free. The more we can build, the more we can have. It's all a positive to me, and we can get into the nuance of, all the capitalism and driving up price and for all day talk about that. But at the end of the day, as far as if we want prices to come down, we need more places for people to live, and it's great that you're doing it with that for sure.
This is a great way to protect New Hampshire's green space too, right? Like, people do get fired up about big apartment complexes coming up, because this is New Hampshire. They don't want it to feel like Boston.
Especially when you go into the rural towns.
Yeah.
There was a big complex that they were proposing in Bow, where I live, and everybody was
real fired up.
And it was like right off the highway too. It wasn't like rural Bow, and I was like thinking about it. I'm surrounded by like 40 acres. If somebody came in and wanted to develop that, people would lose it.
Yes. But when someone needs to build a small home on a lot that they already own, great.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right. So it just comes down to local regulation at that point.
Yep.
I'm sure some have minimum square footage and that type of thing, but
they do.
But that's it's good to know. I'm glad we've connected on this a few times, but it's like we're both very busy. This is forcing us to actually have the real conversation about it. It's like you get to do your sales pitch to me because I'm forced to sit here and listen to it now. But no, I always wanted to, because like I said, people all the time. I helped a friend of mine buy a house in Deerfield that was like, it was 800 square feet, and she's like, I'm never home. What do I care? Like, I just need a place to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to. And it was like,
kind of
it
the
was like
theme.
it was like half the price of what she couldn't afford, and now she's just living large.
Yeah.
She has expendable income. She's like, I would have spent this much on any apartment I wanted.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And that is the theme with today. You said, like, is this an option for younger people? Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a great option. If the parents have a home and the kids can't break into the housing market because there's either no inventory or the prices are too high and they don't qualify for the loan they want, this is a perfect option for them. They can build on mom and dad's house and have their own space and have their own home there. So
that's fantastic.
It's pretty versatile.
So how do people start this process with you? Should they contact you first? Do they go and find their financing first? Do you work with them as an agent to find, if say they want to do this on a separate piece of land and build a small house, do you help them as an agent and help them on the construction process? What are all your roles and how do they get started on it?
Yeah, so a great place to get started is just our website, kinstructinyhomes.com. We have we have 11 models built out there. So our goal is to be when someone first pops into their head, like, oh, I think an accessory dwelling unit might be a good fit for my family. We want that's the point we want them to find us, because we have all of the resources they need. We have the agents to help them find the land or sell their house to fund this. We have the connections with the lenders that offer ADU specific construction loans here, which is also super exciting. We should connect about that too. And then we have obviously the resources with the architect. We're going to create your custom plans, and then we're going to actually build it for you, and it's going to be move-in ready. You just have to bring your furniture. So the goal is that they find us at the very beginning so we can complete that whole process for them. Of course, some people find us a little later. That's fine too. We're totally flexible. So our website is a great place to start, and then we're able to kind of fill in all those blanks for people and answer those questions. And if we'll hop on a 15-minute call first, make sure that we're the right fit for the type of project that you're looking to do. Sometimes people think they're on wheels or they need something modular or mobile. That's fine. If I can give you those resources too, I have lots of good connections within that industry, including a tiny home on wheels builder who's phenomenal. And so I can connect you with those people if that's what you're looking to do. But if we are the right fit and we have a call and you kind of have a plan for your budget, you have a plan for the space, and then at that point I know where you live and what town you're in and what the regulations are, we'll come out and do a site visit. From that site visit, we'll talk about your options for the models. We have 11 different models on our website. They're all customizable. Because we stick build, if you need to move a door or a window or flip the kitchen or eliminate a bedroom or change the size in one of the rooms, totally fine. Part of our process and part of our bid is time with the architect anyways. So you're gonna get the opportunity to do that and to customize that space.
I like I may have to hit you up for the person that does the one on wheels, so that if I do have to have my mother and she acts up, I can tow her out. I can tow her right back up to Maine. That really a great overview of that. And I also want to talk to you. You own 2 businesses.
I do.
Just 2? Or do you have others? Did I miss any?
Just 2. I mean, we have rental properties.
I had somebody here a few weeks ago, and she's like, "Oh, I do this, I do this, I do this. My husband does this, this." I was like, "Oh, okay, great." I didn't even have to talk. Yeah, but you started your own brokerage. Mm-hmm. What led you to do that? A lot of people ask me all the time, "Why don't you start your own brokerage?" And for me, it's like the brokerage handles all kinds of headaches, and my brokerage doesn't take much from me. Handles a lot of things I don't want to handle and gives me a lot of stuff. So what drove you to go out on your own?
I think it was a combination of things. I wanted to get my broker's license, right? So that was one thing. So then I'm like, well, if I'm a licensed broker, well, I have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of like, does that mean that I should just have my own brokerage or should I work as an associate broker? Because obviously there's a couple options that route too. And I knew that I just wanted a little bit more flexibility and just, I guess, the ability to like take the time and figure out what do I want to do. And that's at the time that I got my broker's license and decided to go off on my own was also the time that I kind of created this Kinstruct Tiny Homes idea and was really thinking about it and really had the space in my life to figure out like what does this look like for me, because it is gonna look different for everybody. And for a lot of people, having your broker's license but still hanging that with a brokerage does make the most sense because of all of the resources you have available at your fingertips. There's lots of cool options for brokerages these days that are very much outside of the box from what they were even 10 years ago, right? So for me, it made sense to kind of keep everything in-house, to do the tiny home construction, to have the control over the real estate piece of it too. It just worked for me.
Yeah, so has it been worth it? Do you feel like, you're happy with that decision?
100%.
How long ago did you do that?
I opened my brokerage in the fall of 2023.
Okay, so yeah, you're a good year and a half in, so you got to know that you like it by now. So that's awesome, because I that's one of those things where I feel like if I did ever take that jump, it's almost hard to reverse. Like just getting into real estate, I can never go back to working a regular job.
I know.
It'd be impossible.
I know.
There's no way I could be told
Not
what
an
to
option.
do on a daily
Right.
basis. Like,
Yep.
I have a broker who tells me to follow laws and do these processes right if I want to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't punch a clock. I don't have her up my ass every day telling me I have to do this or that or the other thing. I could never do it again. So I always think about that, like, hey, then you become a broker, you're even more removed. Could I ever even go back if I wasn't happy with it? So it's always interesting to me. What are the challenges of running your own brokerage? I feel like all our local brokers, very rarely are they like camera facing, public facing. They're very behind the scenes, especially at some of the bigger brokerages. It's interesting to get somebody's perspective who's actually doing it out there in the public space.
For me, I mean, obviously there's the day-to-day stuff, right? There's the days where I'm wishing that I could like clone myself and have a few of me to
That's no different than being an agent.
But that's
right?
no different than anything else, right? So if it's something that you're already used to from being an agent or from running your own business and from being an entrepreneur, then you can do it. You can do it. It's about mindset.
It's like weaving your life into, like, it's just other, like my wife runs her own business. I'm always helping her with that. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a loan officer as well. And I'm always doing this media stuff too. But it's like, I just keep taking, Nick was actually just yelling at me about taking on too much. We do a lot together. He does video stuff for me. He's producing a short film on Friday that I'm acting in with him. He's like, you're doing too much. Slow down. But it's like, for me, it's like I can take on more if I just have, like you said, the mindset. And my mindset is like, there's no work-life balance. There's no start and stop. It's just all part of my life.
It's all part of life.
It just weaves in and out. It's like, you'll get a client that's like, oh, sorry for dragging you on a Sunday. It's like, yeah, but I took Tuesday off and volunteered at my kid's school.
Yep.
So I definitely that part of it to me, it's like, I don't know, but I guess
it's worth it. It makes it worth it.
You said it earlier. We're all different, and there's no right. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this business as long as you're treating people well.
Definitely not.
I think you see so much in the real estate space of these influencers, I guess, coaches, trainers, stuff you see online of like, must do it this way. If you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong. And almost none of those things I do.
Right.
And I'm doing all right.
Well, also too, we're in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a very specific place. We do business. People in New Hampshire do business.
And the Northeast in general,
people they
too.
know, like, and trust. Yeah. And so, like, to be camera facing and forward facing, like, this is my business. I'm proud of it. I want to talk about it. I want to be the face of it. Like, I worked really freaking hard for all of this, and so. I want to be here doing this type of thing. This is great. And so when I'm here doing this type of thing, and then I have to run out of here and go show a commercial space later this afternoon, like that, that's by design. I did that on purpose because I like that. And then I'm home, and then, like you said, on a Tuesday morning, if I need to run out to the school and watch a kid's performance, like, I can do that because it's all by design.
Be wherever I want, whenever I want to be. The only thing that can happen is I can lose money.
One of my husband's favorite sayings, he said this recently, and we laughed about it so hard, and somebody asked him what he was doing, and he said, whatever I want, I'm an adult. And I was like, wow. So that's kind of our answer to everything now.
And it's funny because the more I have that mentality and live that life, the more childish things I do.
Right, of course.
I'm not doing,
because I'm justified in doing this because I'm an adult.
Like Nick, I have a multifamily listing coming up this week, which hopefully will be sold by the time this podcast is out, so I don't need to promote it. But Nick did a video for me, but it needs full rehab.
Yep.
And I was like, there's nothing to show. I'm like, I want to do a video because it's part of my package now. But there's nothing to show. It needs a full renovation. So we just did like a funny skit.
I love that.
And like,
I love that.
And I had him just add like infographics to describe the property, like in between or on top of the scenes or in between scenes, something like that.
Or you do it the same as
like. I don't know if I ever even watched that final product you sent me.
I wonder if you actually watched that.
You do it the same as the bougie videos, right? And then, but it's just not a bougie house. So that's okay.
Yeah, this one we did like literal just sketch comedy.
Yeah.
I play 4 characters. Nick edited it together where I'm actually on screen like the Nutty Professor.
Oh,
at the same time.
perfect.
I made the joke the other day that it's like I'm Eddie Murphy, the Nutty Professor, except it took no special effects to make me think. So,
But you gotta hit your boom ching there. There you go.
yeah.
No, we had that.
He showed me when you went out to the car. Yeah.
So, yeah, where were we before I started making fun of myself? Yeah, I'm talking about opening brokerage.
Just life
Being
and
public,
balancing
yeah.
all of these things.
Yeah, it's like I think the work-life balance is the wrong because it's impossible.
It is.
The
There's no such thing.
And some of these real estate coaches will be like, well, just protect your time, and I feel like when I do that, like I was in, I won't name them, I don't want to shit on them, but I was in a coaching program, and my coach was like, nope, you just block that time off no matter what happens, and I'm like, no, if my client has an issue, that's
Right.
first every
Right.
time.
Right.
I can't get in that. Like I will. It's like, well, how are you going to get more customers if you're spending that hour you're supposed to be doing your follow-up calls? I don't care.
Yeah.
I get more customers by doing the right thing for them because they come back later. Like
And they refer you.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And
Yep.
it doesn't make any sense to me to like say, hey, I have to do these things a particular way every day, no matter what, because it just doesn't work that way. Every client's different.
Yep.
Every client's schedule's different. We have people that work overnights. We
Right.
have people that only work weekends. We have people that work Monday through Friday, normal schedule.
Yep.
And you're constantly changing to adapt to work with them. If I'm saying, well, no, I have to do this marketing thing at this specific time. Obviously, if I schedule like
On Tuesday at 9:30, I'm going
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
drafting Canva templates. I can't meet you
Right.
for a showing.
Can't possibly
yeah.
show you the house. Yeah.
Right.
It would be crazy, but there's people that do that. There's
Yeah.
People that literally have that mentality.
Yep.
I don't understand it at all. You mentioned commercial real estate. What does that look? I don't do much with commercial. My wife has a business in commercial property.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't really know much about commercial real estate. What are you seeing in the local market with that? I mean, I know commercial real estate changed big time with COVID.
It did.
People
Office space particular.
Office space particular. What are you seeing locally? I know, like, one of the Brady Sullivan building downtown has converted to residential that was office space. What are you seeing in the commercial space right now like that?
In the commercial space, there's still, I mean, I think we've rebounded pretty well from COVID overall, generally, as a society, most of us at least. And I think businesses have learned that they need to be flexible no matter what is thrown at them. And COVID was a great example of that because nobody could have ever predicted that. So everybody kind of needs to have a plan B and be just willing to pivot, right? And have that mindset that like, I'm going to make this plan. I'm going to make this business plan for my business. But like, that could all go out the window very quickly. And so what's my plan if I need to pivot? So we're still seeing a ton of demand for spaces, especially for contractors and service providers that need, the space for their trucks or their supplies or a showroom or something like that. We're actually building out a building right now in Pembroke that I own that's a commercial space, and we're going to put Kinstruct Tiny Homes is going to be one of the tenants there. And then I have a couple of retail units that will come online for lease here as soon as we can get some final touches on the commercial contracting, which is significantly different than residential contracting, by the way.
We're about a year and a half now on the build out of my wife's space.
Oh, yes.
She's going into that Queen City Center project.
Okay.
Down on Canal Street.
Okay.
And they had something with the structure that had just set them back up
Yep.
a lot. They had to redo something structurally that set it. I think
it's always something.
Our lease says July of 2024. We're
Yeah.
supposed to start. We're
Yep.
still we don't have drywall up yet. Yeah, we have the outside walls, but we built inner walls and
Yep.
we're wiring them now. But yeah, it's the commercial process and commercial contractors and all of that is just so
It's pretty different, yeah. But I'm passionate about that too because I own small businesses, and those small businesses need a space and an office and for somewhere to go. And people are getting back to that, like, let's come to the podcast studio and record a podcast. Let's go to the office so I can get out of my house. Like, I'm too distracted.
and
whatever
a lot
the
of
case may
people
be.
opening their own businesses. I feel
Yes.
like the blow up of social media in the past 10 years has taught so many
Given people confidence.
that they can just do it.
Yep.
And I have it. People tell me all the time, seeing what I've done in real estate, they're like, it inspired me to do whatever. I mean, my own wife, she's like, seeing you thrive, it pushes me to thrive with my business. And, it's always funny to me because they only see all the good stuff. They only see the hard work. And I'm like, and I'll get it on a day. It was like, it was just eating Cheetos all day.
Maybe I should tell social media about this. They might like that.
But it's, how it is. It's like you do a 16-hour day and you're like, I might take the foot off the gas a little bit the next morning.
Yes.
But it's funny. You always get those types of. I always feel like I get those types of compliments when I'm like in the mode of like, actually I haven't done shit all day. You think I'm doing something special, but a day like today, it's like I'm doing 2 episodes here, and then doing my work. It'll be a long day.
Full one. Yep. Yeah. Just the need for small businesses to have space.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also you do both. You do commercial and residential. There's very few people who do that. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've dabbled a little bit in commercial, and the more that I've done it, the more I'm like, this isn't my world.
Really? Okay.
It's like if it's helping a buyer where they know exactly what they want, and I'm just doing the paperwork and processing for most parts, not a big deal. But when people start getting into negotiating leases, I learned that lesson on my wife's business. I knew nothing about negotiating a lease.
Sure.
And her lease at her last space, like left some stuff to be desired.
Yeah, all right. Sure. I bet.
And we learned the hard way on that. But yeah, so should agents do both? And if they do, like how do you get knowledgeable on commercial? Because it's like there's thousands and thousands of residential agents in this area. Most of their offices are within a mile of where we're sitting right now. But there's not that many people doing commercial, and I see a lot. Like we have 100 people in my brokerage, and we have a private Facebook group of people all the time. Like, I'm trying to do this commercial thing, and there's just nobody to advise.
Yeah.
So where do people get started on that?
Well, call me anytime, Alex, if you have questions on commercial real estate. I'm happy to answer what I can. But I think
I've just been avoiding it for the most part.
Or you can avoid it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's total preference. For me, it was total preference. When I first got my real estate license and I did my first couple real estate deals, and I was on the phone with clients who were literally crying because it's such an emotional process for people. It's a lot of money. They're likely only going to spend that kind of money once or twice in their life when they move, that kind of thing. And I really quickly realized, like, I feel like a little bit of a therapist, or like a lot like a therapist, and less like a real estate agent. And I didn't love that. And that's not what I wanted to be feeling like.
I guess I'm weird because that's like kind of my favorite part.
Then yes, you're weird.
Being the emotional support.
Some people are so good at it.
There's a lot of things that I say that I'm like, if I wasn't doing that, what would be the point of me? And that's not.
It's such a huge part of the job, though. You have to be good at that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why when people say, "Oh, I don't need an agent." I wish when I bought my last house that I didn't represent myself, because it's not like it's a disaster, but there was some things I was emotional about it.
Yep.
I didn't. And the selling of my old house too there's a little bit of emotion behind it, where it's like I probably would have ended up a little better on both ends had I had an agent advising me that didn't have the emotional attachment to it, wasn't under
bring
the
you
stress
back down.
of moving. Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the I have people say you don't need an agent. I have an agent from Connecticut who inherited a house here, hiring me to sell a house here.
Yeah.
She's not going to do it herself.
No.
She knows better,
right? Right.
So it's kind of funny, when people say that. You were talking about that because of. You were going to say probably the commercial doesn't have that emotion, right?
Correct. It's a little bit less emotional.
And that is cool. It's like it's just a business decision. But I have had my commercial clients too, like the few times I've done it, I've had them get emotional about it because it's tied to their business.
For sure.
And that's you take your business personally.
Yep.
But it's not in the same way. And especially if there's somebody that has a lot going on, like investors that buy several properties a year, like it's
the numbers.
Do these numbers work?
If the numbers work, great. If the numbers don't work, great.
The flip side of that is they sometimes care so little that they don't realize that there's another human on the other side of that transaction that also has emotions.
Yes.
Like I have one very regular client. He's like all business, but sometimes he's like, "Well, why are they upset about that?" I'm like, "Because you're taking money out of their pocket, man. Like it's like it's not just business to them. Like it may be just business to you, but it's not business to them."
Right.
So it's funny to see both sides of that. But yeah, residential for me is I don't mind being that psychologist. I go to therapy myself.
The world
so
needs people like you.
Yeah, I need to. The things that my therapist tell me about myself, to not feel as bad about myself, I have to tell other people.
There you go.
You're as bad as me.
Yep. There you go.
I don't know.
Yep.
I'm just making stuff up right now. So that's about the time we're gonna do. So why don't you say how to get a hold of you?
Okay.
What's your social media? You already plugged the website, but go ahead and say it again. Get a hold of you as an agent. Get a hold of you as a tiny home builder.
Yep.
All your links, all your plugs.
All my links and all my plugs. So our website is constructinyhomes.com. You can find us on social media. Usually I'm a little bit older, so I post on Instagram, and then it kind of just syncs over to Facebook, and that's usually good enough for me.
I think we're in that same exact range.
Instagram seems a little more user-friendly. So we do actually really make it a point to be as active as we can on Instagram, because people really like to see that. They like to see what we're doing day to day. They like to see what we're building, how we're building it, what we're building it for,
you do
all
really
of that
good stuff
kind of
on
stuff.
it. You do nice reels.
Thank you.
I like
Thank you.
the content you do. Sure.
Thank you. So I appreciate that, because it does feel like a job sometimes to kind of keep up with it. Yeah. And so we're at Kinstruct_tiny_homes, but I'm sure if you just search Kinstruct on Instagram, we'll pop right up.
I got as far as kid.
Oh, see, look at a school is calling me right now. I'm probably a delinquent child somewhere. Two high schoolers is an interesting phase of life.
Yeah. I would keep telling my wife, I'm like, our daughter's 7, but I'm like, almost 8. I'm like, we have maybe 5 years that she likes us left.
Correct.
Until about her mid-20s.
Maybe 4. Yeah.
So I'm like, let's get as much family memory done right now.
We're gonna jam it all in the next couple of years. She may come with us
to vacation, but she's gonna sit next to the pool on her iPad and not talk to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's bring this attitude and travel with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's have too much screen time and vacation instead of at home.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So yes, people can find us on Instagram. They can find us on Facebook, Kinstruct Tiny Homes, and then I'm also on Instagram for my real estate stuff. It's Realtor Jess S.
TikTok?
No, I don't know how to do TikTok.
I think the stuff that you're doing, especially if you tweak it just a little bit to how TikTok likes it, well, I think you'll do well. The cool thing about TikTok is your followers don't matter. You can just have a video. It will just send your video out to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And if people watch it, if people react to it, it'll just send it to more people, and then more people. Mm-hmm. It kind of steps up. If 50% of the people watch it in the first 100, they'll send it out to 500. If 50% of those people, they'll send it out to 1,000.
I don't know if I try. I'll let you know if I try TikTok. I don't know.
Your type of content, especially being on the cutting edge of something.
Yeah.
I think you do pretty well over there. I think it would help you out.
All right, maybe I'll try it.
It hasn't helped. Now I say this.
Nick, do you do TikTok? You edit TikTok videos?
I can do whatever you need done.
He
might get another client.
He did a TikTok video for me yesterday. And he's also Nick's very smart too about knowing what worked. He said,
sure.
We did a video.
That's the other thing. I don't know the algorithm, so why am I wasting my time?
I just get lucky once in a while. Nick actually studies it and figures this out.
Right.
And remember we did a video shoot in Hampstead. I'm like, make me some reels. Use your own artistic license. He sent me this thing it was from Look Who's Talking. And it was a toilet talking. It was like a toilet. I don't know.
Have you seen that movie? Look Who's Talking to?
Yeah.
With the baby when he sees the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's talking. He's like.
That's a blast from the past.
I want pee-pee. I want pee-pee.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I want pee-pee. And he sends me this, and I'm like, the dumbest. But I trust other. I've been getting better at trusting other people.
Yes, you have to.
Hey,
you have to just
your
delegate.
Niche,
yes.
I'll let you do it. And I'm like, this is. He's like, trust me, it's going to get the most views. He was right. But yeah, being so my TikTok. It's funny. I'm saying. So I've had no success on TikTok, but the tough part about TikTok is local. You'll get.
It's a little more widespread, right?
It's a little more.
Yeah.
So actually getting local attention. But again, where I think with you, where it's a more niche thing, there's nobody else in New Hampshire doing it. I think you will land where you're supposed to be. Maybe there are, but
I'm gonna put back. You have had success on TikTok.
I haven't closed.
Nick is resentful about that statement.
I haven't closed anything. I haven't gotten a lead from TikTok.
You haven't sold it, so okay.
Yeah. As far as becoming a famous, handsome guy, I've done well on. No, but I had supposed to all this I spent a few $100s to have him edit together a fancy video tour. I'll do the podcast clips or the thing that did the best is one day we went to Fun City. No, not Fun City. Fun World down in Nashua, the castle place.
The creepy looking one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually very cool.
Okay, I believe you.
The creepiness keeps the prices down.
Oh, love it.
And then the prizes are actually okay.
Strategic.
From the arcade. I mean,
Yep.
your kids are teenagers, so it's not. But
They probably go there. I don't know what they're
might.
doing.
Yeah, they
They
might.
drive now,
I mean,
so
yeah,
I don't know where they go.
The arcades probably, but there's like an indoor playground. There's a merry-go-round inside.
Okay.
Like stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Yes, it does look very weird from outside. It is dated and dingy a little bit, but it's pretty. They keep the prices down. Like it's still they still use the old school tokens.
The kids don't notice the
like
difference.
$20. I got like a bucket of tokens. Anyway, my kid wins she gets enough tickets to get a prize, and she gets a bunch of prizes. But one of them was one of those bamboo flutes. And
recorder?
Basically a recorder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they call them bamboo. They have one less hole than an actual recorder. But
Not
I still,
official.
because I did the recorder, I still remember how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on TikTok. Just played it, didn't say a thing, and I put a caption over top that said what I learned in public school instead of how to do my taxes.
Yeah.
800,000 views. Or no, 600,000 views.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like some dumb things just go viral very easily. But it's like anything that, because people are scrolling content all day, they're seeing the same thing. If yours just started with like
Tiny house.
Yeah, did you know you could build,
Yep.
Did you know that you could build a separate property on your property in New Hampshire? Whatever, you know the
There's so
breakdown
much
knowledge.
slop content too that when you start when you start
Slop.
actually putting, there's a
Definition
lot
for
of that,
slop content.
You see those videos that are like it's like a Minecraft run with like robotic words over the top of it.
If
Yeah,
you're not on
yeah.
TikTok, okay, I was gonna say.
Well,
you're
no,
not on
I
TikTok,
have
right?
2 boys though, so I know all
okay.
about Minecraft.
It's
Yeah.
just like a Reddit story
Yeah.
over the top of it. It's called slush. It's actually called slush content. But it basically just it's specifically designed to override your central nervous system so that you can't move away from it because it's
Just the dopamine is just firing. Yeah.
There's so much of that and so much of it looks the same that if you put out something that's authentically you,
Yep.
it connects with people in a different way, and so it may not do awesome, but the people who do see it and who do like it are more likely to
More valuable of
more
a
valuable to you.
content absorber.
I keep telling him he needs to have a mic on this podcast.
I know. Can people hear him?
It does pick
Ish.
it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'll just talk, and here he goes. Yeah. As soon as we got to talk about social media algorithms, he can't shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you Instagram,
Yep.
your website, check it out. Thank you so much for coming in and
Thank
talking
you.
with me. It was a pleasure. And if you need a tiny home or an ADU, get a hold of Jess in Kinstruct Tiny Homes.
Please. Thanks, guys.